It's important to remember that the wilderness of today is nothing like the wilderness of yesteryear. The original wilderness, although it's called a wilderness, was in fact a human-created environmental disaster. The forests that used to grow here were comprised of trees hundreds of years old and hundreds of feet tall. They had shaded out the majority of the undergrowth, and it was said that the king's chariot could run at a full gallop through the forest. In the 1700s, a mill was set up along the Rapidan River, and they proceeded to cut down all of those trees to feed the voracious English shipping industry. By the mid-1800s, it had been replaced by the wilderness, which was a choking tangle of vines, sticker bushes, small pines, and scrub trees that were all competing against each other to prevent anything like this sort of forest from happening. You wouldn't have been able to see nearly as far as we can see here. Regiments couldn't keep in contact with one another when they were trying to march through here, and oftentimes companies of 100 men or less couldn't keep contact with the next 100 men on their left and their right. This particular area, I believe, was a swamp, and I think you can sort of see evidence of the swamp over there. So by comparison to this lovely little Bambi forest that we're waltzing through now, I am not lost. Oh no. Lost in the wilderness would be being able to hear somebody firing a gun 10 to 15 feet away and not being able to locate that person. One of the more interesting things about the Battle of the Wilderness is that it was difficult for artillery to be employed, and they were at the opposite ends of the battlefield from one another. So the overwhelming sound, and it was apparently crashingly loud, was the sound of small arms fired. Mini balls and muskets, primarily in 1864. And yet, through the smoke and the fire and the underbrush and the screams, people were horrifyingly alone because they could not see the people next to them.